Hi there, it's Elaine Hamilton Grundy and happy 2021. I'm sure, like me, you're quite happy to see the back of 2020. And because I'm in transition at the moment on my way back to Singapore, yay! I thought that for this Reiju, normally we meet on the first Monday of every month, and I thought I would do it pre recorded. Essentially, for those of you who've been kind of following along, and for those of you in the community with me, we've been noticing quite a dramatic shift that has occurred in the energy, and many people have been talking about this since the solstice in December 21st. There was this big build up all through 2020 for this solstice, like something's going to happen. And I must admit, I was one of those people that was thinking, it's going to be one of those things that we're going to get to the solstice and nothing's really going to happen. So I have to say, I am as surprised as anybody else that I know, actually. Well, I'm not really surprised. I mean, I was expecting it, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But essentially, what has been occurring is the whole of 2020, I've been talking a lot about the bringing in of the new earth energy and, this kind of new vibrational frequency of energy that is helping us to become more and more ourselves. Now, obviously, we've been talking about coming into ourselves and uncovering ourselves and stepping into our power and all these things for decades. I mean, none of this is new stuff. The availability, however, is, I think, what is the most pronounced difference from the beginning of 2020 to now, the end of it, and moving and stepping into 21. Now, this availability of energy means that it is much more tangible. So we can come into our meditations, we can come into our Reiki, and we can feel the presence of the New Earth timeline, to be frank. And essentially, what we used to do. So, for example, in our Friday community, every Friday we'll gather, we'll travel, we'll explore, we'll go and feel into this new energy, see what it's about, push the edges. And there was always a movement in terms of you kind of had to move. Perhaps you had to move up, perhaps you had to move down, perhaps you had to move forwards. And we were kind of going places, we were exploring. And that exploration required travel because in the here and now, we still very much had our foot in the old paradigm. It's kind of, so then we'd finish our meditations and go about our normal life, and in the hope that we would carry a lot of this essence that we discovered in meditation and carry that forward. So it's like, when you do your yoga, then the idea is you carry on your yoga practice off the mat, as they would say. And so coming into meditation was a chance for us in the community to practice our real presence of being and playing in the new timeline and seeing the timeline. And over 2020, that seeing of the timeline became stronger and stronger and stronger. So now what's happened since solstice is when we went in, so this only happened last week, when we went in, it was like arrival. So to try and get a sense of what I mean by arrival, for many of us, we have been looking kind of forwards, inwards, outwards, upwards, downwards for this kind of new earth. And often when we're doing meditations previously in the community, we would go places, like we would go up into the cosmos and connect with all the other kind of members of the community. We'd go down into earth. We'd have to go through layers of soil, so we'd go down through the earth, through the layers of the planet, and then feel into the crystalline structure. And so we were kind of going places, right? So there's this feeling of movement. And this is really critical, because what's happening now is that movement is no longer required, because when we are now plugging in to the earth, it's almost like the soil layer, that the traveling through something, or the going up into the cosmos, has been replaced with a sense of arrival. We're in it. So all it requires is a shift of attention. Now, I've been banging on about attention all year, but even that's different. So before, I was banging on about attention because I was like, pay attention to where your energy is going. All the distractions, all the politics, all the drama that we've been seeing unfold through this COVID pandemic has had a very, very draining effect on our energy, and has created a lot of opportunities for our ego to go into drama. So that request to just watch your attention was really to make sure that you were on the path. Now, the request for attention is much more like, which timeline are you on? Because this idea of the new timeline, the new earth, whatever you want to call it, is a distinct difference. When you are fully established in the new earth, you will notice that everything around you has changed. Like all the crystalline structures, the trees, the birds, the environment you're in, it's literally like the Matrix. And so, and I'm also in the process of figuring all this out, okay? So I know a lot of what I'm saying might sound really weird, but I'm as new in this travel as I am talking to you. So, and I may often, I think in the next couple of years, be changing the way I'm talking about it, because I'm going to be feeling it differently. But right now, when I focus my attention onto the new timeline, into the new timeline, with the new timeline, I don't even know how to describe it. There is a very, very different sense of the environment that I am sitting in. So I'm no longer having to go up or down or round or in or out. It's just here. It's here. And my mind takes me now into this illusionary 3D dimension, where I can get involved in all the drama and all the things and the bits and the bobs. But essentially, when I drop that, I am very, very definitely here. And that here-ness is not just unusual for me. I mean, it is happening in our community. We've been talking about it, and I think all of us are really feeling this massive shift. So this meditation is really to help you, or invite you to resonate or not resonate. I mean, there is a sense that this is an unfolding process. So for many of us, we're not going to really start noticing, I'm just going to sound crazy to many of you, I know. And then to some of us, there might be a resonance. And that's not a comment at all about where we are or what we're doing or how fast you are. I mean, nothing like that. It is an unfolding process. And that unfolding process, it's like a flower. Okay, so if a flower blooms, the outer petals open first. That doesn't make any discernment about the inner petals that are still in a bud state, right? Like, you don't say, oh, those inner petals are worse than the outer petals, or the outer petals are somehow, moving too quickly, or just a flower blooming. And this planet is blooming. So there is a blooming happening, and we are the petals. So we are the ones that are starting to unfold with this new earth energy. And as that happens, we're all going to be at different stages of the flower. So for some of us, we're going to be still in the bud state, and then for others, we're going to be opening, and then for others, we're going to be fully open. And you can see that in your communities, how people are talking about this and how they're engaging with the energy as it comes in. And there are some people that have been talking about this well before me. And so we're all kind of just at different stages. And it's the most important thing is to really kind of resonate in with what stage you're at. So if you're listening to me and none of this is resonating, and you just like, this just makes no sense to me, and I'm not interested, then that's fine. But if you're listening and you're like, oh, I'm curious about this meditation and I wonder what it's going to feel like, then just do the meditation and see for yourself. And it's all about really from now on, from 2021 onwards, it's where is your attention? Again, talking about attention, but looking at the attention as, am I connected, really connected in with the new earth, like with my petalness, with my blooming? Because the blooming is not egoic, it's not person. And it used to be, right? Like we talk about personal growth and say, oh, step into your power and release your limitations. And it was all very personal, like your limitations perhaps placed on you by your society or your parents or whatever. But now the coming into your power is not your power. It's coming into Gaia, coming into new earth, coming into earth power. And that power is coming up through this crystalline structure. And it is in the crystalline structure. So it's kind of like we're part of the planet. There is an earth energy crystal structure. God, I know I sound like a lunatic. I hope this languaging starts sounding a bit less ridiculous over time. Probably not. But I'm just trying to describe what I'm feeling, but I know as it comes out my mouth, I'm just like, you freaking lunatic. Okay, so anyway, forget that. I'm just going to give you the message, okay? So there's like a crystalline earth structure, but there's also the cosmic or the atmospheric or the air. So, you know, these elements we talk about already. And in Reiki, we talk about the 5 elements. And in lots of cultures, in Asian culture, the 5 elements, you know, it's kind of like the earth, the air, the water, the fire, the ether. And it's these elements are crystallizing. So they're taking on a different quality, essentially. So the new earth quality is very, very different. And when we really fully kind of immerse in that, when we remember that, when we feel into that, then you'll find your alignment. Like for me, I'm noticing that I'm very earth energy. Like I'm just in there, and which is weird because I always thought I was very etheric. But I'm definitely, my feet are just on, and they've been on now since the solstice. So I can feel that energy coming up. And then for some of you, you might be noticing that actually you're really etheric or fiery, right? You might be clicking into the fire energy and noticing that there's a lot of action, there's a lot of orientation, there's a lot of determination, there's a lot of kind of movement, there's a lot of burning up of old, you know, like I've had it enough. Like the activists, I think, are probably more of that fire energy. Or you might be more the water energy, where everything just feels very fluid and in flow. And so as I'm talking, it's like, does this make sense to you? Are you noticing just in the last week that there has been some kind of permanent shift in your relationship with the environment? And then it's kind of getting curious as to, well, what part of the environment, or where am I more resonant towards? Or, you know, this is what we're going to be figuring out in 2021. And so we're just going to start off with doing a little meditation. The focus and the theme for this month is new beginnings. And so new beginnings because we've just come off the back of a very intense, like, release, right? Like really like opening and removing the old stuff, the old paradigm, the old everything old has gone. And now we're kind of standing in the newness. And of course, there's some anxiety, there's some fear, there's some not sure what to do-ness around it. And so it's just to really come in together. I think this is where community is so important. It was so important in 2020 for community to kind of help and support each other through this. And now it's going to be so important as a way of traveling together, like moving together, integrating together, because I am still talking to a tiny, tiny percentage of the population, I know, and there's going to be very few of us who are moving or working with this energy compared to the greater planetary human experience. So finding these communities that are that you're resonant with is really important, or you're just going to start sounding like a lunatic like me. I'm past caring. I just like whatever. Um, I know what I'm feeling, and it's really up for you guys to start to come into that power of knowing what you're feeling as well, and working with it. Like let's go. Let's do this. So okay, enough blah 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 from me. Let's go into meditation. Let's go into Reiju. So I'm just going to get you to close your eyes. Bringing your hands into Gasho, into prayer pose, in the front of your heart center. Taking a few deep breaths, centering yourself. We're going to start off with a Reiju, a Reiki blessing, focusing on the top of your crown, the top of your head. Imagining a lotus opening, Reiki energy flooding in. Down into your heart center, into the hands. And allowing that energy to expand out the hands, out the heart, encompassing your entire body. Using the breath on the exhale just to scan and relax the body from the top of the head down into the shoulders and arms, into the chest, the belly, the hips, down the legs, into the feet. Using the inhale to scan any areas of stress or tension, using the exhale to release. And now placing your hands anywhere on your body, relaxing, allowing the Reiki through your hands to continue to heal and rejuvenate you. We're going to bring our attention now into this new earth, starting off at the feet. Just noticing the feet first of all, its connection to the ground. And as you travel a bit deeper, imagining your feet now touching the earth. And just noticing for yourself when you touch the earth, how do you feel it or sense it or see it? Perhaps it is a crystalline structure, as I describe. Perhaps it is soil, a sense of deep grounding. Whatever it is for you, just becoming clear, open. If it resonates with you, you can travel a bit deeper into the earth, merging more fully with it. Just noticing your own personal connection. Moving your attention now up into the heart center. Your feet may still feel very connected to the ground. But now also bringing in the air element. Using your heart chakra to expand out into the environment. Your room. Your neighborhood. And just noticing how that feels. Perhaps in your mind's eye you notice the streets, the buildings, the trees, even the birds take on a more translucent, crystalline structure. Allowing your attention up into the crown, traveling up and out. Imagining yourself rising up into the cosmos herself. Looking down on Mother Earth. Looking out into the other planets. Perhaps you notice from here a more translucent, light-filled, different aspect of the cosmos than perhaps you've noticed before. A more illusionary quality. Perhaps more paradoxically, you feel a mixture of illusion and reality. More solid, more connected. And at the same time, more illusionary, more light, less sticky. Bringing your attention now to the flow in front of you, the movement of energy through you into the future, like a river or a path, and just observing for yourself how it resonates for you. The path could be meandering and slow and luscious, taking your time to enjoy. The river could be meandering. It could be very still. You may even be on a lake with nowhere to go, nothing to do, but enjoy and be present. Or you may notice for yourself quite a fast-paced river, maybe even rapids, movement, speed. Noticing for yourself your own individual journey as an expression of consciousness, an expression of this new earth energy, whether it feels to be coming up through the earth, down through the cosmos, out through your own heart center. Simply feeling into it for yourself. Noticing also any aches, tension, holding or resistance. Any stickiness from the old paradigms, the old stories. Looking for attention and focus. And as you notice these, you just very gently and lovingly relax into those areas. Perhaps using the breath, gently exhaling and relaxing. But also knowing that these areas of stickiness or tension, old patterns and paradigms, are no longer relevant. You no longer have to worry. Bring them with you, leave them behind. Either way is fine. They no longer hold you. They no longer affect you the way they used to. They are remnants of an old way. You are free. You are connected with a much, much greater paradigm, fully operational. Breathing into that truth. A vehicle of consciousness. Perhaps a vehicle of Mother Earth, of Gaia.
perhaps of the ether or air, the cosmos. Perhaps an explorer, a teacher, creating movement and new opportunities and possibilities for others. Whatever your role in the new earth, simply know that all you need to do is connect, bring your attention and focus into this new energy, new way of being, new timeline. And everything else will unfold in perfect order, with perfect support. Bringing more peace, more freedom, more joy. Feeling the deep steadiness, the deep stability. Feeling the well-being, the love and gratitude. Feeling the oneness, the sense of completion, the sense of wholeness. Noticing your own readiness for service, your own readiness for giving over, becoming a vehicle, serving the greater. And also being okay if that readiness is not there, not available, not ready. It is an unfolding process in its own time and its own place. So just relaxing wherever you find yourself, whatever your state of mind, whatever your feelings of readiness, acceptance. Being present and open and accepting of exactly where you are in this time, in this space, full of love, surrounded and bathed in support, in universal love and consciousness. and keeping this feeling of love, of universal support, beginning to feel the edges of your own boundaries, your own auric field, your own individual body. Feeling the top of your head, your face, your neck and shoulders, your arms, your hands. Into the chest and back. Down into the hips and legs and feet. Perhaps swaying your body a little, moving your fingers, your toes, giving them a little wiggle. Raising your arms above your head. Giving yourself a little stretch. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes.